Area was like rich and poor, man. That's what it is. Ain't no middle. So like most of the black neighborhoods and shit, it's kind of hard to come from out that shit. You know what I mean? Pawleys Island and areas in that area. You know what I mean? Around that area, Merle's and all that. Everybody think about South Carolina, they think about Myrtle Beach. You know what I mean? They don't really know about all the different cities and all the trenches. You know what I mean? The different places.
They
you know
know,
what I mean?
they know about Columbia, they know about Charleston, you know.
They ain't know about the Low Country though.
Nah, they ain't know all the little areas, but
They
you
ain't know
know.
about the Low Country like that. You know what I mean?
That's real.
For sure.
So when would y'all say y'all jumped off the porch?
I'm about 13, man, you know, 12, 13. My mom, you know, she got in a bad wreck in '96, so I was young, and she stayed in the hospital 11 and a half years, you know, until she died, man. So I can say at that time, you know, 13, 14, you know, I jumped off the porch, staying in the streets, you know, just, you know, robbing stores, man, to eat broken in stores, you know, stealing cars, you know, just, you know, no guidance, man. So about 13, 14, man, you know, that's when I jumped off, you know, and stayed off.
True. Well, shit, man, I think I jumped off by like 15, 16, man. Like when I was 15, my pops died from a heart attack and shit, you know what I mean? He was like 45, and he never was sick or nothing like that, but he just passed away, you know what I mean? He had a sudden heart attack. And at that time, that's when I kind of started feeling like the man of the house and shit. I made a lot of bad, you know, choices and shit, but I always tried to stay smart with my shit. I never wanted to be like too hood with that shit. I never wanted to tell everybody my business. I always try to stay low key, you know what I mean? And never be like too much bragging about that shit, always keeping that shit low key. But, you know what I mean, I would say 15, 16, man, when my pops died, that's when I jumped off the porch.
That's cold. So what would y'all say is the biggest life lesson y'all learned so far growing up?
Go ahead, you answer that one first. I'll come after you.
Well, shit, the biggest life lesson growing up, man, I was like, in South Carolina, it's hard to see like a vision, like to see like that seed, to plant that seed to grow, you know what I mean? Because in our state, man, we kind of always got overlooked, really, like in the music game, you know what I mean, in the entertainment game. And a lot of good people in the world that have been successful came from South Carolina. Like, you know what I mean, Charlemagne, John Morant, you know what I mean? It's plenty of them, you know what I mean? Actors, all type of shit. But a lot of people don't know that.
How about my man from Anderson, Black Panther? That's a big name.
Yeah. Oh,
and my boy from Ladder, what his name, basketball?
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's true, man. Shit.
You know, a lot of people
they
don't focus on South Carolina. But go ahead, you finish.
Oh yeah, I mean shit, but I was gonna say the same shit. Like they just don't focus on the Carolina like as I guess because I don't know if all the scene never come together at the same time and work with each other and collab or shit like that. You know what I mean? But it always just seemed like South Carolina been always like the underdog, even in North Carolina. Like to be honest, you know what I mean? North Carolina always been like the one that been getting the most recognition, you know what I mean? So I say the life lesson that I would say that we learned growing up is that you gotta then tell yourself the right shit, cause you ain't gonna see it right in front of you. Whatever you trying to go after, whatever you trying to get, whatever you trying to be, you gonna really have to believe in yourself more than anybody else. Cause around we from, man, like, niggas ain't gonna believe on that shit quick. They gonna hate on that shit first before they believe on that shit, you know what I mean? That's just the facts of the matter. That's why South Carolina always been divided like that. So I say the most important thing, like I said, man, seeing growing up is you gotta really believe in yourself. You gotta really have them thoughts in your head, or you gonna get easily distracted, man.
Biggest life lesson.
Yeah.
I learned up to this point, man, is learning from your mistake the first time. That's the biggest life lesson I've learned. Is learning from your mistake the first time. I tell anybody who's watching this, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, you understand? So just learning, man, from a bad mistake, because you gotta, first attempt something, man, for it to become a mistake, man. So just learning from it the first time, man. Don't let it be 3, 4 opportunities. So now, I still ain't perfect, but you know, I live by that, man. I ain't gonna do the same thing over and over. You know, if it ain't no good, you know, I'm gonna get away from it. So that's the biggest life lesson I learned.
That's real. So what would you say is the biggest obstacle you had to overcome in life? Making it out of South Carolina or just surviving as your own?
I would say, man, just surviving, bro. Like that's the realest thing you can do, man. Like surviving is like, to me, is not being locked up, not being damn on the run for no bullshit. Like whatever you're doing, like pushing, making your ends meet, taking care of your bills yourself, feeding your family, taking care of your kids and shit. You know what I mean? That all falls under surviving. And I would say making it out of South Carolina probably comes second, because you gotta survive first. Even you gotta be able to deal with your reality to damn be successful or to have a goal or achieve something. You know
What's
what
the
I mean?
question one more time? You know, he talking, so I'm listening what he says.
What would you say is the biggest obstacle you had to overcome in life?
To stop thinking, man, that I can control anybody else in this world. You understand? The only person I can control is me. Once I learned that, man, I learned a good thing, you know. I think, man, me growing up, you know, my demeanor and just, you know, my way of living, I felt like, you know, I can, you know, kind of tell a person, you know, you can't tell nobody to do anything. So just learning to control me and, you know, not controlling nobody else. Once I learned that, you know, things run a lot smoother, you know. So I would say that, you know.
So how did y'all two end up meeting?
Damn. We met, like, I think the first time I met you, big dog, it been on some other shit. Like, we met each other at the studio after that shit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, after that shit, we met each other at the studio after that shit. But I ain't gonna really say exactly what it is on the, you know what I mean? On the, you know what I mean? But it was some other shit long time ago, man, and we was at the spot chilling.
Shit, I wanna know what it is, you know?
Well, I saw you and shit. You was coming, like, we was coming from this gas station and shit, right? And I was rolling a blunt inside my car. I had a white Tahoe. And I was rolling the blunt up, like, bright open with the door open and shit. And you was like, yo, what you burning on today? And I was like, yo, there's some mids and shit. And you was like, yo, there's some Joe, some fire. You said, yo, take that shit, man, spice that shit up a little bit. And you just threw me that shit.
Oh, yeah?
For nothing, I was like, you just be like, take that shit, like, throw that shit in the blunt, spice that shit up some more.
I threw a good brother something good, man. He a good brother, you know. We've been rocking ever since, you know.
Yeah.
Did some songs together.
At the studio with Phil.
Okay,
with your
okay.
business part. That's the second place we
Yeah,
met.
yeah.
I was like, yo, you the dude I be seeing around.
Hey,
you know
you
what I mean?
heard what he said, Drew. You don't hear that shit no more, boy. So, you know, whoever watching, y'all already know what is hitting for y'all here hydro. Y'all jitterbugs, y'all ain't know nothing but that, you know.
No.
Yeah, but he a good one, so, you know, I'm glad I met him. You know?
Yeah, man.
That's real. So what do you remember meeting for him first?
His music, when I first, you know, heard his music, is distinctive, you know. Honestly, man, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. You know, if Pop Smoke would have probably heard some of his music, you know, he probably would have had to change, you know, his style. That's who he reminded me. When I first heard Pop Smoke, I was in federal prison here not too long ago. And when I heard it, you know, he the first person that came to mind, because he been, you know, kind of trending, you know, with some of that songs in a sense. You know, it just, Pop Smoke got the notoriety, you know, as big as he, you know, he was than Bird, but, you know, he's still on the up and up, so. So his music, man, he's distinctive, you know.
Yeah.
That's real shit.
So K-Bird, when would you say you started making music?
Shit, man, I started making music probably like in 08, probably 2010. But I wasn't taking this shit serious at that time. You know, I was just making it, doing like, you know what I mean, doing the mixtape shit, making the mixtapes on some people other beats and passing it out, you know, locally around the town, selling it, like on the beach and shit. But I would say like in 2000, that was like 15 or 17, I started taking this shit serious, and that's when I damn met Project Pat and shit. And we did a damn whole, like, you know, project together and shit, you know what I mean? Shout out to Project Pat, yo, he been my first, like, real feature, and nigga, like, I know what Project Pat worth, you know what I mean? He gave it to me off of strength, you know what I mean? Off a nigga that, you know, he respected music and shit, you know what I mean? So, shout out to Project Pat, you know what I mean? That's kind of when I started taking it serious after him.
That's cool. 6ix9ine, how about you? When did you start taking music serious?
Probably when I came to Atlanta. I mean, I took it serious prior to that, you know, but I can say that, you know, I really put a lot of energy into it when I came to Atlanta, you know. Linked up with a lot of people down here, man. Metro booming, you know, before he blew as big as he was, you know. Shorty Red, Shorty Low, that been my man, you know. Like, you know, me and Low did sounds together, man. I, you know, went on tour with him at times and opened for him. You know, he got me a future with Lil Wayne, 2 Chainz. So, you know, coming down here, man, you know, just doing so much collabs. One with Young Greatness, man, you know, a few months before he passed, rest in peace. And just working, man, you know, with a lot of other people, man. I kind of took it serious then and, you know, been pressing ever since, you know. I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be, you know. So
that's real.
I say when I came down here, you know, in a sense, it been before this, but South Carolina, you know,
hard to get it.
The formula, you know, ain't popped down there, so, you know, artists from everywhere else, they see